All right, what is going on, guys? UFC 313 ended yesterday, and these are going to be the fights to make after the event. Starting off with the main event, Magomed Ankalaev. You probably already know who I'm putting him up against. We're going to give Alex Pereira the immediate rematch. I think 3 title defenses within a year. I think it was like 8 months or something like that. Very dominant wins as well in those title defenses. And this was a very close fight. I had not had time to go back and rewatch it, but I'm assuming if I did go back and rewatch it, I would probably live. I scored rounds 1, 3, and 5 for Pereira, 3 being the closest round of the fight. So I'd have to go back and rewatch round 3. I'm just going to give Ankalaev the benefit of the doubt. I've been seeing a lot of people online saying they went back and rewatched it and rescored the third round for Ankalaev after rewatching it. So very close fight. It was by all means not a shutout performance. I think with a few adjustments, Pereira could definitely win. He just needs to do more. He didn't really do too much in that fight. Kind of just backed up the whole time. Didn't fight like he normally does. So, yeah, I think they run that back. There's really not anything at light heavyweight if they decided not to run it back. Like I said in my post-fight, you have the winner of Blachowicz and Ulberg, but, that's in 2 weeks, and then you're going to have to wait. I mean, I guess they're kind of similar schedules, so you could do the winner of that fight to versus Magomed Ankalaev, but I think they go ahead and just do the Pereira rematch, get it over with. If Pereira wins, good. If Magomed wins, good. Just move on from there. But yeah, I think it would be good to see that. Moving on, co-main event. Justin Gaethje gets the win via decision, like I predicted he would. What I think is going to end up happening is not what I have picked here. So what I think is going to end up happening, unfortunately, is if the UFC, hopefully we'll find out here in the next couple of weeks, if the UFC does not book Ilia Topuria versus Islam Makhachev, which they should 100% just book that fight. But if for some reason they do not book that fight, Dana teased that Justin's in line for a title shot. There's no need to give him a title shot. Islam's going to smoke him. It's not going to be a competitive fight. I doubt it's as competitive as Dustin Poirier made it. I understand if they want Ilia to fight one person, get a win, then fight for the title. I understand that. But Justin Gaethje does not deserve a title shot. Just give it to Armin. I know they're not going to do that. So, please, I hope the UFC doesn't do this. Or doesn't book Justin versus Islam. Just rebook the Dan Hooker fight. I really want to see that fight. And if Justin wants to earn himself a title shot, I think, 2-3 fight win streak, considering he's had, I was trying to get Habib and Charles. He already had 2 title shots. And then the interim versus Tony Ferguson. So I think just rebook the Dan Hooker fight. I'm really excited to see that fight. And then, the winner of that fight could potentially, especially if it's Dan Hooker, I know it would be a rematch, but the winner of that fight would be especially looking into a potential title fight next. Moving on, also, the loser of the co-main event, Rafael Fiziev or Fiziev, Ignacio Bahamondes. He's on a 2 or 3 fight losing streak now, right? Because he lost to Gaethje and then got injured in his fight against Gamrot, and then lost to Gaethje again. Am I crazy, or is that what he's on? He might be on a 3 fight losing streak. Yeah, so he needs to defend his position. Nonetheless, he's on a losing streak right now. He needs to defend his position. Bahamondes just beat Jalen Turner, who retired afterwards. That's why he's not on here. So he should be ranked number 13 or 14 come Tuesday. I'm of the belief, especially we're on a several fight losing streak, you need to defend your position in the rankings versus up and coming contenders. So I think the UFC needs to book this fight. They fought on the same card, so they should be on relatively. Obviously Bahamondes didn't take as much damage as Fiziev did, so it might take some time. But I could see Fiziev come back like late summer, early fall, and have Bahamondes fight him. That would be kind of giving Islam some contenders, getting them to work their way up. Because really, let's just say Islam fights Gaethje, okay? Okay, beats Gaethje. There's no way, unless, fluke KO, Gaethje's not going to win. In the meantime, let's say Ilia fights someone and wins, okay? So then you do Ilya versus Islam next. If Islam gets past Ilya, you really don't have anybody unless you have Dan Hooker coming off of a winner, another win or two. Um, there's really nobody else. You know, you have Armin and Charles again. Uh, you know, maybe they need to fight again, and the winner of that fight could then fight Islam, depending on lightweight's kind of a mess right now. Anyway, needs to defend his position. I think I favor Bahamondes to win that fight. I think it would be a great fight. Moving on. Mauricio Huffy absolutely sent Bobby Green to the Shadow Realm. And I like his call out. I'm sticking with it. We're going with Beneil Dariush. Again, he's in the same position. He needs to defend his position. He's on a several fight losing streak via stoppages. I kind of feel bad for Dariush. I kind of feel like I'm feeding him to the wolves. But honestly, I think this is a winnable matchup for Dariush. I think he could out-grapple Huffy. Huffy definitely has a striking advantage. But if they make this, like Huffy called for a fight night. He wants to be the main event of a fight night. I think 5 rounds favors Beneil Dariush. He was gassing out and fading in that 3rd round versus Lontop. So I think that definitely favors Beneil Dariush. We might see like a Jack Hermanson, Joe Pyfer type situation where Huffy can win the first couple of rounds, but then Beneil Dariush takes over if he doesn't get finished in those first 2 rounds. So this will be a very good, exciting matchup in that lightweight division. And again, we need to inject some new contenders for Islam in that lightweight division. They're kind of, you know, a lot of the older fighters are in the top of the division. They're going to be falling off probably this year and next year. So we're going to be seeing a lot of fresh blood and the top of that lightweight division. Moving on. Joshua Van. Joshua Van, dominant decision win. I said it in my post-fight. Just rebook the Bruno Silva fight. They may even rank Joshua Van. Even if they do, this will still be someone up higher in the rankings. And again, at flyweight, okay, let's say you book Kai France, Alexander Pantoja. I'm picking Pantoja to beat Kai France. Again, you need to start getting some new contenders at flyweight. I mean, you have Manel Kopp. You know, maybe he's going to fight Pantoja. Maybe he wins, maybe he doesn't. I don't know. But we need to get some more contenders working at flyweight. You know, we just had what is his name? Ankalaev. That Kopp just beat. That was kind of an up and coming contender. That's been derailed. Other than that, who you have? I can't remember the guy's name. He just beat Charles Johnson. I didn't watch that card. Last weekend or the weekend before that. I didn't watch that fight. I watched the card, but I didn't watch the fight. That specific fight. But yeah, just rebook this fight. Get Van working his way up the rankings. I would love to see him get a title shot maybe towards the end of 2025 or the beginning of 2026. Moving on. Bruno Ferreira gets was it like a triangle armbar? We're going to book him against Cesar Almeida. They're both kind of, I don't want to say they're in the same situation. Bruno has more fights in the UFC than Cesar Almeida. But Cesar Almeida, what is he, like 2-1 or 2 and yeah, I think he's 2-1 in the UFC. He had 3 fights. You know, have them fight, and then maybe, you know, middleweight's not that deep. Maybe the winner of that fight, one more, or just give him somebody in the top 15. I would say maybe one more fight after that. The winner of this fight gets one more win, then they can fight someone in the top 15 of that top 15 of that middleweight division. I think this would be a great striking matchup. I think Bruno could out-grapple Cesar Almeida. And again, if Almeida wants to make a run for the title, which he has said in the past, that's what he wants. He wants to be a champion in the UFC. He's going to have to get through people like Bruno Ferreira, definitely, if he wants to, you know, get anywhere. And he's old, so it's now or never for him. Bruno's kind of got somewhat of a name, like fringe top 15, somewhat of a name for himself. But yeah, that'd definitely be a good fight. Moving on. Carlos Leal absolutely bodied and destroyed Alex Morono. And I have a very good, fun, exciting, striking matchup ready for him. Muslim Salihov. Muslim Salihov's old, okay? To be fair, he is kind of old. So maybe they could do some fun fights for him. I would love to see him versus Wonder Boy. That'd be a really good fight. They both, have that fun karate style. If not, I think this would be a great test for Carlos Leal. Muslim Salihov's still fast at 40 years old. I mean, he, in his last fight, looked really good, got the finish. I think this would be a great, it's definitely a step up in competition. Would be, depending, he's fought Renat Fakhretdinov, lost via robbery decision. So maybe you could say Fakhretdinov's the best opponent he's faced. But I still think Muslim Salihov would be a very good test for Carlos Leal. And then maybe one, maybe two more wins, depending on if he can get the finish. Then we're looking at a top 15 opponent for Carlos Leal. He's looked, even the fight he lost, looked really good. Now, again, I thought he won the fight, but looked really good. Good at the grappling, good in the striking. Had a really good chin on him. Cannot wait to see Carlos Leal in his next fight. Let me know in the comment section down below. What do you guys think of these fights? Are there any fights that you would make different? If so, let me know. Make sure to subscribe if you guys are not subscribed. Drop a like on this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.